I want to go to a place where I can hold the intangible and let go of pain with all my might. I want to go to a place where I'm suspended in ecstasy, somewhere between dark and light, where wrong becomes right. I want to go to beautiful. 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 Beautiful.
Some of you probably know that my home church, quote unquote, is Unity Church of the Hills. And we have a wonderful group there, just as we do here. Every single person in this congregation gets the idea of unity. And what we're doing at this moment is allowing ourselves to be receptive to whatever flows through who's standing in this place. So today, if you will, I'm going to share a little bit about travel. And in that course of events, the picture that's behind me is one that was taken, I think it was early summer in a little area outside of Cape Town. The mountain range that you see in the background to your right on the screen is the Sonderend mountain range. And what that means is without end. It goes on for a long time, and it's about an hour and a half east of Cape Town, near a village called Riviersonderend. Riviersonderend is river without end, and in front of that mountain range is the river with that name. So let me give you a little bit of history. A number of years ago, I attended what was then called a SCUCA conference. For those of you who still remember that term, South Central Unity Churches Association, it's now called USCR, Unity South Central Region. And that particular conference was where I met a woman named Robin Goff. Robin does amazing work. She is the founder and spiritual leader of the Light Center in Kansas. It's a 35-acre organic farm. And on that farm, we have a wonderful wealth of opportunities. There's a yurt, a medicine wheel, a sweat lodge, of course the organic farming, a 2-story farmhouse, and a beautiful converted barn in which a lot of activities are conducted. In that barn, what we see are people coming together for meditation, for movie night, for any number of practices. Under the umbrella of the Light Center, what we'll find is an outreach program called Love Light. And that's the travel I'm going to speak of. I'll speak of the work that we've done in South Africa. I'm going to tie it to a Bible verse and then manage to bring in our 5 principles. Let's see if we can do that. So this morning, our scripture verse is simply one that we find in the very center of the Bible, from Psalm 46:10. Be still and know that I am God. God. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life. God, the good, omnipotent. We know this to be true. This is the foundation on which we live our lives. This is that stuff that says there is no place where God is not. God, the good. It's an amazing concept. When Robin first started her work in South Africa, she began doing it in Soweto. Many of us know that as the childhood home of Tata Madiba or Nelson Mandela. Soweto is a township just outside of Johannesburg, and it's huge. It's a big, big place. And there was a consciousness of fear that was it had impenetrated the entire area. And what we found with that consciousness was that people who were going there were being told, okay, you've got to watch out. The people are going to mug you. You need to watch out for the glass on the road because that's going to pierce your tires. And when that happens, then you'll have another opportunity for mugging. All of this stuff that helps us feel uncomfortable and ill at ease. But we know the truth. There's only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God. So when Robin was there, she was there with a college student who was doing the driving. Now, mind you, this young man was in a bit of a learning curve because the way that people drive in South Africa is the same way as they drive in Great Britain. The opposite side of the road from where we are. The opposite side of the car. And if it's a standard, well, guess what? You're shifting with your left rather than your right. So things are just a little bit different. It's a lot of fun to learn, though, by the way. And what she did was she was driving through, and as that happened, she found herself in a situation where there were a lot of people. The young man was actually behind the wheel, so he decided to go around the group of people that were in the road. Well, guess what? He had a flat tire. Got out of the car and rushed to fix the tire, and while he was fixing the tire, Robin got out of the passenger side and held sacred space. She stood in the presence of the divine, knowing the only thing in this moment is love. And she held that consciousness throughout the time the tire was being changed. And at the same time, as she was standing there, one of the village elders came and stood beside her. The two women stood in truth in that moment. And this too is God. This too is God present in all situations. Of course the tire got changed. Of course they went on their way. And of course everything worked out. Time passed and Robin realized that Soweto was just a little bit too big. So she moved into a smaller community, and that's where the community behind us, if it's still up there, came into be. And it was a community called the Oosterglud. It's a very small group. Poverty is very high, unemployment is very high, fetal alcohol syndrome is very high. And what originally drew Robin to South Africa was HIV/AIDS. The pandemic of AIDS was so incredible at the time she started doing this work that she realized how important it was to use her skills in nursing, in hospice work, to the best of their ability, because she felt drawn to go there. So what we do in South Africa includes a number of things. And what we allow ourselves to do is to see beyond whatever appearances there are. And I'll be the first to tell you, I am not there to change anyone. I come away, when I travel home, a changed person. You see, the work goes on within each one of us when we show up in this world. And it's an amazing process. To return to unpacking our scripture a little bit more, be still and know that I am. It is the Christ within that does the work. Philippians 4:13 tells us that. And it is the I am consciousness that motivates, activates, and empowers us in everything we do. I am. To be able to see the I am in each other is to first see it in ourselves and to know this to be the truth of who we are. We are divinely made. Genesis tells us this. We're made in what? The image and likeness of God. We've probably heard that before. And we're not only made in the image and likeness of God, we are co-creators with the divine. It's a pretty cool thing. So when we look at the fact that we are co-creators with God, when we are made in the image and likeness, I'll give you another story. One of the little boys that lived in that village, who was born, in fact, with fetal alcohol syndrome, was a child of parents who for a number of reasons, made some choices. And the environment does not support, if you will, a lot of options. So this little guy would run the streets along with a lot of the other children, and when he was a little boy, a very little toddler age, he was given a nickname in Afrikaans that, politely translated, means unloved and unwanted. He did not see his own indwelling divinity. Over time, one of the people with whom we work, a man named John, and his beautiful, beautiful significant other, Joan, decided that Calvin, which is the proper name of this young man, was the child they wanted to foster. Calvin currently lives in a little village north of Cape Town with John and Joan. He's a 5th grade student who is thriving, who knows the truth of who he is, and who has absolutely learned how much he is loved and how loving he is. This is our second principle made manifest when we began to see the truth of who we are. Be still and know. I might suggest that the know in this scripture leads us into our third principle, the law of mind action. Thoughts held in mind and heart create after their kind. We know this because whenever we hold something in that consciousness of the truth, we are able to make it manifest. One of the things that we do in South Africa is we work with a group of women. And these women, quite in many cases, have seen the death of their children due to the AIDS pandemic. And what they have is they are allowing themselves to step into the role of caregiver for the children and of provider. And they do that in a way that is creative. Many of them have skills that we've been able to put together, and whenever we're there, we help facilitate things like quilt creation and other events, other crafts that we bring back to the United States and sell, or that we just simply purchase and sell ourselves for a variety of different causes. But the idea is they take all of the proceeds from everything that they create and split it 3 ways. They give back to themselves 20%. They give back to the fund to buy more materials 20%. And then the other 40% goes into an education fund. So the idea is that these young children who are in South Africa who have matriculated, which is the equivalent of a graduating senior in this country, when they have done that, they then are able to go to university. The law of mind action. Currently, we have 5 children who have graduated from university and 15 who are enrolled. So this little community is making a difference. We know the value of education, and we can see through putting those things in place what has happened. Be still. To return to our scripture, to be still is to practice affirmative prayer and meditation. Affirmative prayer in unity is not to pray for something. It's not to beseech, but it is to claim as if it already is. For example, to pray rain would simply be to stand in the consciousness of rain, using all of our senses, to smell the rain, to hear the rain, to feel the rain, and to feel gratitude. And it is that gratitude that brings us into the presence of rain. And again, to be. To be is to allow ourselves to do the work we are called to do on this planet. Those of us who have learned a little bit about English over the years know that to be is typically thought of as a state of being, a state of absolutely moving nowhere but just being centered. But I'm here to suggest that it might also be to be the change that we would like to see in the world. I'm sure we've heard that before. But that requires a little bit of action. Our fifth unity principle simply stated, it says that knowing these things, that God is, the Christ is within, the law of mind action, prayer and meditation, knowing these things is not enough. We must live them. And ours is to live them from the truth of our being. Ours is to allow whatever is ours to do to show up and manifest. One of the things that's beautiful about that is that if we are guided, when I am guided to do something, I know that's mine to do. And if there's no guidance, if the fog is so dense we can't see the road in front of us, the next step is to simply go within, to receive divine guidance, to know what is the next good, orderly direction, because that's where God comes into being. So we don't have to try to figure it out. We don't have to have all of the answers. Ours is simply to listen. And whether we have a regular prayer and meditation practice or not, we might consider how that can serve us. Because what that does is it gives us a conscious communion with the divine. Our co-founder Charles Fillmore said that prayer is the most accelerated form of mind action known to humankind. That's a powerful statement. The most accelerated form of mind action known to humankind. And when we allow those words to move through us and to hear them at depth, what we are doing is we are opening ourselves to the guidance of the all, or the big kahuna. We all have a different name for God. It might be Great One Divine, it might be Allah, it might be any of a number of things. But the bottom line is we know there is a source beyond this moment, this physical thing that we see right in front of us. We know there is a divine creator. Be still and know that I am God. Those 8 words can move an entire consciousness. And within them are contained the ancient wisdom that we know of as the Unity 5 principles. Not a bad thing when we think about it. So this morning, I'd like to give you a little quote. Who's familiar with the work of Howard Thurman? All right. Got one taker. That's good. He's a theologian, and of course he's no longer with us in the physical sense, but he shares with us that we are not to ask what the world needs. We are to ask what makes you come alive and go do it. Because what the world needs is more people who have come alive. Yeah. So we'll be moving into meditation in a few moments. And when we do that, I would like to offer this, that you pose a question. And that question might simply be, what makes me come alive? What makes me come alive? Because that is truly the gift that we can give back to one another and to our beautiful planet. And so it is.
Be still, be here, breathe in and know you are safe. Be still, no fear, knowing your wholeness again. Be still, be here, breathe in and know you are safe. Be still, no fear, your heart will show you the way. Trust in the knowing that lives deep within. Your path will be revealed. Be still, breathe here, knowing your wholeness again, knowing your wholeness again.
Be still and know that I am God. If you have not already closed your beautiful eyes, I invite you to do so and take in a breath, breathing it down to your toes as you connect your beautiful feet with holy ground, our sacred planet, this beautiful spaceship that takes us through the heavens. Be still and know that I am God. Allow those words to move in and through us. Be still and know that I am divinely made. Be still and know that I am co-creating with God. Be still. And be. Be the presence of the divine as we take a moment in the silence together. Be still and know that I am God. I invite us to take these sweet words into our week and call upon them whenever we choose, remembering the truth of who we are and who we've come here to be. And so it is.